welcome to my build update on my Gunslinger character. In this build guide, I'll be highlighting the strength of Gunslinger's brand, which turns out is pretty good, especially if you, let me switch scenes, if you take flak and cannon. So this node, for some reason, makes it so that your Gunslinger's brand actually has single target damage. So if you've used the skill and you're like, yeah, why don't I do single target damage? My clear is good, but whenever I hit a single target, I do so much less damage. You'll be probably also running this node when you're doing the single target, hopefully. So let's say I didn't have this node, I'd maybe hit for 10,000, 20,000 max. Take this node, and all of a sudden your single target is hitting for the same amount as you'd see when you're clearing packs. So let's say for me, 50,000 to 100,000. If I stack up correctly my elements, I can jump that to like a 140k crit, potentially with Mark of Impurity. So yeah, it's pretty good. Anyway, I'll showcase the build. It is very, very nice. We're gonna go into a 142 map, Paragon mode, and I'll let you decide if it's any good. But yeah, enjoy the gameplay, and then afterwards I'll run through the gear, passive tree, skill modifiers, and finally attributes. Enjoy.
It's not possible. That's not happening.
So it is worth mentioning that this boss has an occult shield, so I am doing quite a bit less damage than I normally would. If I do stack up correctly my elements and have Mark of Impurity, I have seen the numbers easily go to 140,000, so keep that in mind for viewing me boss right now. I'd say we're still killing it pretty quick. So yeah, just imagine if I had the Mark of Impurity and we had a nice little bit of ailments there. As you could see, I hit 100,000 at one point, I believe. So we can sustain those kind of numbers, especially sustain higher numbers if the boss didn't have an occult shield. In a previous map I was able to crit for 140,000 on a boss, so the damage can definitely be quite insane. Anyway, we'll head into some gear. So just hover over it essentially. I will say that the main thing on shoulders, get some rage and willpower cost reduction, and then fill it out with defense, so toughness, or resist, they're all nice. And then you can top it off with some damage, occult damage, and whatnot. Going into the helmet, occult damage, I'll say cooldown reduction is quite nice to have for cooldown on our evasion and dusk shroud. So it's quite good quality of life to grab. And then we have 10% block chance gemmed into the helmet. You'll see that I have also 10% block chance here. I wanted to have 3 1000 max life gems, but I haven't hit the triple, I believe it is defense free, but I haven't hit that yet. So at the moment I've just got 10% block here. And then on the pants, again, I have gem 10% block. We do scale blocks, so it is nice to get that additional block from our gear through gems. So going into the chest, we have some damage, toughness, again, resist, all that is ideal. And then we're running a bruiser chest with the passive tree node that allows us to get health regen, so we have got some health on this item that helps boost our health regen. Going into amulet, health, crit damage, toughness if possible, occult damage if possible, and then it is beneficial to start looking at putting in some transfer time reduction. This helps to keep our rage capped, so we don't drop below 750. If we drop below 750 rage, we lose a lot of damage, so be aware of that. And we'll need roughly, I'd say, 110 to 120% transfer time reduction, so you'll want to gem your amulet, both your rings and your belt with transfer time reduction, and then I've got some transfer time reduction on the chest and on the pants. So quite a bit, but it is crucial if you want the build to feel a lot more smooth. Then we'll head into the belt. So occult damage, crit damage, life. This ring, again, crit damage, max life. I'd want occult damage, but I don't have that. So look out for those kind of mods. Similar with this ring. Then we'll head to the pants, occult damage, try and get res, toughness, maybe some CDR, and then also transfer time reduction, very important. Then we have boots, we have occult damage, toughness, move speed, all that good stuff. Finally, the weapon. Ideally, you want a legendary weapon, legendary bow that has shadow aver damage to attacks. I don't have that, so I had to gem some shadow damage. The reason why I gem shadow damage is because I want to inflict curse a little bit more regularly. If I didn't have that shadow damage, I wouldn't have the curse mod or curse ailment chance on this Gunslinger's brand. So that's a little bit not ideal, since we have a passive node that for each curse stack on enemy we gain increased damage. So without the curse application on our Gunslinger's brand, which is our main skill on a single target, we wouldn't be stacking as many curses as we definitely wouldn't be stacking as much as we could having that curse percent on this skill. So passive tree. A path up this way, get all the crit stuff, crit damage, crit chance, get the ailment, +1 ailment here. Up this way, grab the health regen per health point on equipped bruiser chest. Could run a heavy chest and benefit from the all resistance score. That's a very strong, probably it's on par. It honestly, I think heavy chest might be better than my bruiser chest. So just one of the two, bruiser chest or heavy chest, and you should be good to go. You'll get a lot of defense from this node, so highly recommend it. And this node beside it just makes it so that our helm slot can do the same. So I have an all resist helm, so I gain all resist score from the helmet. Very, very, very nice. Then we head up here and get the block node for defense. Moving down this way, we'll pick up the Furious Appetite, generate rage instead of willpower. Get the node that when we're above 750 rage, our damage is doubled. So with all the transfer time reduction, we can generally stay above 750 rage very comfortably, and we benefit from that double damage. Then we'll get the leech over here. Half up here, get Manning Slaughter, get Rage Gen on kill, grab Tenet down here for some more damage reduction, pretty nice. Head up this way, grab the Pierce node. Just means that if we group up mobs nice and close, our Gunslinger brand can essentially hit the whole pack of mobs through the Pierce node here. So it increases our clear speed and makes the build feel a lot better. Going down this way, we take the Stasis node. So when you hit enemies afflicted with Stasis, they take 100% of the hit damage again after a 1.5 second delay. At the moment, I think Gunslinger brand hits roughly 10 times, so it shoots 10 bullets, I believe. So then I'll 1.0 seconds later essentially get another 10 bullets worth of damage. However, this damage can't crit for some reason, so let's say I do 10 shots and they all hit for 100,000, which could easily happen, especially if I get more crit. 10 shots, 100,000, that's 1 mil, right? And then if it doesn't crit on this node, you're roughly looking at an additional 300,000 to 400,000 damage from this node here. So overall, you'll hit for 1 million. Then 1.5 seconds later, you'll get a boost, damage boost of 300,000 to 400,000. So in total, you're doing roughly 1.4 million damage per a Gunslinger brand cast at that point. So very, very nice node. Definitely want to take it. Then we head up here, grab Die Juncture for the damage reduction. Then we have all these red nodes here. This just gives block chance and some survivability, so it's pretty nice. Head here, pick up the max willpower and rage. Just means that the build feels more smooth and that your burst window is a bit higher, so you can spam a few more Gunslinger brands before you need to worry about generating more rage again. Then we'll finally finish up down here with Occult Affliction. So we gain 5% plus 2 from this node, so 7% increased damage per curse inflicted on an enemy, or per curse stack. So at the moment I believe we can hit 15 stacks, so 15 times 7, you can do the math. And then I will eventually be taking the additional 5 here, and additional 5 here. So then that will go to 25, and then lastly we'll finish off with this node here, which will allow me to stack up to 30. So 30 times 7, that's 210% increased damage. So if I can level up a little bit more, I'll test that, see if I can stack it up to that level, and hopefully with the Mark of Impurity, getting all the ailments up, and then getting a good crit, I think it definitely could reach 200,000 on a crit. If all those circumstances come together nicely, definitely could see 200,000 crits, which would be pretty insane. Anyway, we'll go into our skill modifiers. Okay, so Gunslinger brand, the most important, crit damage. Plus 5 targets, so you fire 5 additional bullets. Without this, you'd only fire 5, so it's pretty good. Then we have Time Manipulator converted to AVO damage, which scales well with our occult damage, and it also allows us to inflict stasis. And then we have Black Hand Cannon, which is the node that essentially allows us to do all our single target damage. Don't know why you need it, but you just do. And to finish off, we had Wild Gunsman, so fire all shots. So just lets us, instead of firing 1 shot on a single target, we fire 10. So pretty important. Then we'll head over to evasion. Just basically highlight each node. You can pause if need be and have a look what they did. Dust Shroud. I will say here that Death Gazer Railgun is very nice in terms of rage generation if you take this node. So you'll see when I drop below 750 rage, all I have to do is just cast a few Death Gazer Railguns, and then that'll top me back to max rage so I can keep using Gunslinger brand. Okay, so that pretty much covers everything. I will say that in your max damage window, you want to have Mark of Impurity. You want to cast a Dusk Shroud to get the increased shadow damage. And then you want to stack as many curses as possible on that target. And then if you do all that, yeah, we can see 140k crits already with this build. So, especially if the boss doesn't have occult shielding or occult resistance. So that's essentially your rotation, and then when you run out of rage, you Death Gazer Railgun, and yeah, rinse repeat. It's pretty good. So, finish off with attributes. So, our attributes, that's the passive tree. Our attributes are all ferocity, try and get as much crit as possible, then we try and get as much damage bonus as possible. So the best way to do that, all on ferocity. And I think I've covered everything, so if you found the video helpful, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below and I'll try my best to answer them as quickly as possible. This build is insane in my opinion, and just goes to show that ranged builds in Wolcen at the moment really aren't that bad if done correctly. So I'm excited to push this build a little bit more, and if I get a few more levels, perhaps we'll be able to do some insane amounts of damage, and I'll definitely make another build update. So also I should mention that my Twitch stream info will be in the description below, so feel free to stop by at any time to ask any questions or just to hang out. So yeah, that was the build guide. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.